Okay, I'll say good morning or afternoon or evening whenever you're watching this. This is Mr. Reed, and we're going to look at sections 7.4 and 7.5. Hopefully you're on task, and this is week 20. So if you're not, let's get caught up. And you should be working in order like normal from top to bottom. This should be the first thing you come to for week 20. And following this in Portal, there'll be all of these slides that I have that'll be in a PDF. So we're not going to, there's 32 slides. We're not going to go through all of them in that much detail. At the end, like I did last time, we're going to work out some problems, which I think will be more useful. But I want to show you what these slides look like, and then you can use them because these work out all the problems for section 7.4 and 7.5. They give you all the reasoning behind everything and give you examples and how to do them. So in this one, we're going to start looking at raising a power to a power, which in this example, it has the quantity x to the fifth raised to the second power. And before, we were adding powers, but now we're going to multiply these exponents, because this is the same as saying x to the fifth times x to the fifth, which is simply x to the fifth plus 5. So what you want to notice is that all you're going to do now, because it's raised to a power, you're going to multiply these numbers and come up with an answer, x to the 10th. So our examples at the bottom, 5 to the 4th raised to the second power is the same as saying 5 to the 4th times 2, or 5 to the 8th. So if we put it in algebraic form and have a variable, m to the 3rd raised to the 5th power is m to the 15th. We're simply going to multiply those. Remember, feel free to pause and take screenshots for your notes. So in this example, we'd simply have n to the 4th raised to the 7th power. We simply multiply and get n to the 28th. And again, in all of these slides, you'll have a thing that says got it, which is just some extra practice. So you can try these, and in the next slide, it'll tell you if you got the answer right. If you didn't, go back and look at the example of how to do it. So that's our first type problem. Simplifying an expression with powers. Well, in this example, we've got y cubed times y to the 5th raised to the negative 2nd power. And we have to remember order of operations. So we're going to do this first, right here, which is y to the 5th raised to the negative 2 power, which is y to the negative 10. Now we go back to what we learned last time, and now if we're multiplying these with the same bases, we're simply going to add the exponent. So y cubed times y to the negative 10th is simply y to the negative 7th, and we know from what we did last week is we can't end up with that negative exponent, so we're going to move it to the bottom. Again, some other ones for you to practice on here with the answers.
So we're going to skip ahead a little bit, just because this is just an example.
Recording started.
Okay, so we should be getting this new desktop. Okay, there we go. Got to make sure my colors are the right color. All right, we're good. All right, so I'm just going to give some various examples, not in any specific order, but some of these are going to be real similar and maybe the same as what's on your quiz and homework. Some will be very similar. So some good examples for you. So if you were given k to the negative 2 power raised to the 9th. Well, we know that it's a power raised to a power, so we're going to multiply those. That gives us k to the negative 18th. But we don't want to end up with this negative exponent. So we simply are going to take it to the bottom. We get 1 over k to the 18th. Simple enough? I'll be erasing these, so anytime you want to stop, you can. So let me get rid of that one. And let's look at something like this. Okay, so in this problem, we really want to be careful to remember the order of operations. So we're going to parentheses and then exponents. So our first we'll raise this whole quantity to the second power. So while 3 squared is 9, x raised to the second power is x squared, because 1 times 2 is 3. And y cubed raised to the second power is 3 times 2, just 6, times what we get here, times x to the 6th, y to the 6th. Because again, these all imply an exponent of 1, and we're multiplying. But now we have these like terms that we have to combine. So we have the x's, so x squared times x to the 6th here. Now we're just going to add those exponents. So we got 9, x to the 8th. And now we're going to do the y's, y to the 6th times y to the 6th. And again, it's not being raised to a power, so now we're just going to add those exponents. So there you have it.
And that's all we're going to do for now. It's just an example of what the kids get to see.